excessively censored by YouTube and SPLC. This channel has been known to trigger leftists and trolls alike. Proceed with extreme caution. You have been warned.
This is something that only time and prayers and just love from the family gonna take us.
4 men have been injured in a shooting outside of a home there, and deputies say the men managed to drive themselves to get help.
Police responded to reports of gunfire. When they arrived, they found 3 victims
Our
shot.
attention to Easter Sunday in Detroit, which sadly was filled with gun violence. At least 6 shootings in a span of 24 hours.
No arrest yet in the mass shooting at Grand Hall in Mobile. 5 teenagers shot, 2 others injured at the Teen Bash concert on Halls Mill Road.
Police in Hickory asking if a murderer is on the loose. Pushing police in Hickory asking if a murderer is on the loose. 4 men were shot outside a bar just before closing time early this morning.
A fight broke out between members of the group, and during the scuffle, one of the members of the crowd, later identified as Don LaFortune, fired 2 shots.
2 people were killed and 1 person injured when shots rang out in a mall parking lot.
4 people shot outside a Jacksonville home 2 weeks after a teen who lived there was killed in a crash involving a stolen car.
Violent 24 hours across Hampton Roads. 7 people were hurt, 1 killed after 3 separate shootings in 3 separate
One local
cities.
community is calling for an end to gun violence altogether.
It comes just 2 days after someone shot 2 men on Mariner Street.
Annual Easter block party to promote peace turns into violence. 2 people are now dead, both shot near the intersection of Dunn Avenue and Lem Turner Road.
A fight at a gas station leads to a shooting involving a party bus.
And that fight broke out just before 3 a.m. at a Citgo station on Wyoming near Joy Road. A short time later, shots fired into a party bus on I-96.
A violent weekend in Detroit. It's Easter Sunday, and police are responding to several shootings. Good evening, I'm Amy Lang.
All of this and more on Blame the Thug, Not the Gun.
Damn!
Now YouTube censored. Now YouTube censored.
I'm mad as hell right now. Yes, I am.
Viewer discretion is advised. Mama Black.
This program contains language and sequences some viewers may find disturbing.
Pushing police in Hickory asking if a murderer is on the loose. 4 men were shot outside a bar just before closing time early this morning. Police are releasing few details about how the shooting happened or who they think is behind it. Reporter Gina Esposito spoke with someone who works nearby and heard the gunshots.
Tonight, we can see a shell casing on the sidewalk in downtown Hickory after shots were fired at a club just down the street here. Now, a bar manager around the corner told me that she had customers inside when she heard the gunfire.
I was just in the office working, and I heard about 5 or 6 gunshots go off.
Caitlin Dyson said she called 911 just before 2 this morning after hearing those shots from the Vault Bar and Lounge on 1st Avenue Northwest. She's the bar manager of Old Hickory Tap Room, located behind the club. When officers arrived, police say they found shell casings, but no victims.
They just went down and shut the roads off immediately and got the tape up and stuff, made sure everybody was safe.
Over the next 2 hours, investigators say 4 people showed up at different hospitals with gunshot wounds. Police say Antonio Watts died from his injuries. We don't know a lot about Watts, but police said he and 3 other men were at the club before shots were fired outside. Lizzie Warfield was walking her dog through downtown Hickory this afternoon when we told her about the shooting. She told me she's surprised it happened in such a family-friendly town.
I'll definitely let my parents know and have them be safe, whenever they're down here.
Dyson hopes it doesn't prevent people from enjoying the Hickory nightlife.
I hope everybody still comes and has a good time and, realizes things like that can happen anywhere.
At our last check, police said 2 people have been released from the hospital. There's still 1 person recovering at Wake Forest Baptist Medical Center tonight. In Hickory, I'm Gina Esposito, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
A large group assembled outside the Exotics Gentlemen's Club, again here in Elizabeth. A fight broke out between members of the group, and during the scuffle, one of the members of the crowd, later identified as Don LaFortune, fired 2 shots into the air. The group immediately dispersed, with several members, including the 4 charged individuals, proceeding into a parking lot directly across the street from the club. At that point, Sharif Robinson shot an unarmed Daniel Lewis, who was later pronounced dead at the scene. Immediately after Mr. Lewis was shot, Robinson, Philippe, Cadet, and LaFortune became involved in a shootout in the parking lot, firing numerous rounds. Moments later, 2 Elizabeth police officers arrived at the scene. The officers advanced toward the shooters and were fired upon by Philippe and Cadet. Neither officer was hit by the gunfire. The officers returned fire, and the 2 men, Philippe and Cadet, were able to enter their car and, with Cadet driving, flee at a high rate of speed. Both Mr. Cadet and Mr. LaFortune were arrested. Both Sharif Robinson and Jonathan Philippe remain at large and should be considered armed and dangerous. Anyone who sees or comes into contact with either Philippe or Robinson or knows of their whereabouts is cautioned not to confront them, but rather to call 911.
And right now at noon, we're now seeing some cell phone video from a deadly shooting that happened in Lauderhill.
2 people were killed and 1 person injured when shots rang out in a mall parking lot. Let's go now to Local 10 News reporter Erica Rako.
She has the very latest on the shooting and the victims as well. Erica.
Well, one of the 3 people who were shot is going to survive. He took himself to the hospital, but Lauderhill police officers were here all night in this parking lot. The lot was just a mess, littered with garbage after they say hundreds of people came here following a car show that was going on at a park nearby.
A triple shooting, 2 people killed, a huge crime scene, and an all-night investigation.
We do know that there was an altercation. We're just trying to put the pieces together right now.
Hundreds of people were hanging out in the parking lot of the Lauderhill Mall last night. Just part of that crowd seen in the corner of this shot from a surveillance camera. Everyone starts to run at the sound of gunfire.
As you can imagine how chaotic this scene could have been, you had several hundred cars, several hundred vehicles. The moment shots ring out, everybody starts to scatter. And that's when the multiple 911 calls started coming in.
A Lauderhill police officer working a detail at a restaurant next door heard the gunshots and rushed over. You see him in this cell phone video trying to help after he found a man shot. When paramedics got here, they found a second person shot. They were both rushed to the hospital but died. They've been identified as 33-year-old Omari Stevens and 32-year-old Lawrence Hall.
Less than an hour later, after those calls came out, another individual called in where he was suffering a gunshot wound to his leg. That person drove himself to Plantation General Hospital.
That person is going to survive. Police say the crowd gathered outside the Lauderhill Mall after a car show at the Broward County Regional Park wrapped up. Investigators are talking with people who saw what happened, and still they're working to figure out who opened fire.
There were a lot of people here. Somebody saw something. I encourage anybody to please contact us and let us know what's going on.
And detectives do believe that there may be more than 1 person who fired shots because they found at least 2 different types of shell casings here in the parking lot. There were dozens of evidence cones out. They were photographing everything and collecting things, just trying to figure out what led up to this and who is responsible. Live in Lauderhill, Erica Rako, Local 10 News.
They use their media to assassinate real news. They use their schools to teach children that their president is another Hitler. They use their movie stars and singers and comedy shows and award shows to repeat their narrative over and over again. And then they use their ex-president to endorse the resistance, all to make them march, make them protest, make them scream racism and sexism and xenophobia and homophobia, to smash windows, burn cars, shut down interstates and airports, bully and terrorize the law-abiding, until the only option left is for the police to do their jobs and stop the madness. And when that happens, they'll use it as an excuse for their outrage. The only way we stop this, the only way we save our country and our freedom, is to fight this violence of lies with the clenched fist of truth. I'm the National Rifle Association of America, and I'm freedom's safest place.
We continue to follow this breaking news from the west side. Jacksonville police investigating a shooting at Confederate Point. This is where police just told us that 4 people have been shot, and they're looking for a dark-colored vehicle. Police just wrapped up some briefing on the shooting. We learned that 4 people were hit by gunfire.
And it happened around 9 o'clock tonight in the 6100 Transylvania Avenue area, and that street is now blocked off. News4Jack's Corley Peel is there live and has talked with people in the neighborhood. Corley, what are they telling you?
Janice and Ken, witnesses have been telling me that it has been an active scene out here. They heard the gunshots earlier today, and they said that they were so loud that they could hear them down the street. I want to give you a look at this scene right now. You can see that there are several cars lining this street. Police say around 9 o'clock tonight, a dark SUV, drove by and shots were fired outside of the car. They say 4 people standing outside were shot. They say they were all men that were shot. 1 person is in critical condition, and the 3 other people are in serious condition right now. They don't have much information about a suspect, where that car went, but it is on the run, so they're asking people to be vigilant. If you see a dark vehicle or you know anything about this, you're urged to call police. Now, I did speak with a witness, and he told me he called 911 after hearing multiple gunshots fired 3 streets from his house. He says one of his friends is actually friends with some of the victims, and he said he could hear the screams after the gunshots were fired. He does not want to be identified, but this is what he said about what happened here tonight.
She seen the car do a drive-by, and she went up there to try to help the one person there, and she was holding the wound so he wouldn't bleed to death.
Again, police are looking for a dark SUV, and they are urging anybody who has any information to call Crime Stoppers. We're going to continue to bring you as much information as we can, and as soon as we know more, we'll continue to keep you updated. Reporting live, Corley Peel, Channel 4, the local station.
At 10, 4 people shot outside a Jacksonville home 2 weeks after a teen who lived there was killed in a crash involving a stolen car. Action News Jax told you about the shooting on Transylvania Avenue last night at 10. Neighbors tell Action News Jax' Brittany Donovan that someone opened fire at the home the night before the teen's funeral.
Gunfire erupts outside a Jacksonville home, leaving 4 people seriously hurt.
5 or 6 shots rang out at once, and I just got down and tried to take cover.
Officers and patrol cars blocked Transylvania Avenue near Blanding Boulevard Friday night after someone opened fire on a group of people.
It was packed with just cops everywhere. 20, 25 cops.
Witnesses tell me 2 of the victims were shot in the head.
One guy wasn't moving when the ambulance came. It was just crazy.
Neighbors tell me the shooting happened in front of this home where a 17-year-old lived with his family before he was killed in a crash involving a stolen car. They tell me the funeral procession left this street today.
This is surveillance video of the crash that killed 17-year-old Dontavius Joseph on March 22nd. Police say Joseph was inside a stolen car when it hit a fence and flipped on Cassett Avenue while fleeing from police. JSO said it's not clear if the shooting is related to the crash.
Wherever the reason was, it didn't have to go that far to that point where you just shooting off rounds in this neighborhood where people are living, old people, kids. It's just crazy.
Witnesses say they saw a black car drive off right after shots were fired Friday. Officers are asking anyone with information about the shooting to call JSO. Reporting in Jacksonville, Brittany Donovan, Fox 30, Action News Jax.
It's been a violent 24 hours across Hampton Roads. 7 people were hurt, 1 killed after 3 separate shootings in 3 separate cities. First, we start with a quadruple shooting in Virginia Beach that left 1 man dead. This happened just before 10 last night on Pickering Street. That is in the Lake Edward neighborhood of the city. 10 on your side's Asia Tolliver spoke with several neighbors this afternoon. And Asia, I can imagine these people are scared after what happened last night.
That's right. The neighbors I talked to didn't want to go on camera because they were worried the shooter could come back. While many of them heard the fatal gunshots go off, they say they stayed inside hoping for the best.
Neighbors tell me it was a house party turned deadly. They say a large group of people were partying inside and outside this home on Pickering Street Friday night. One man tells me around 10 o'clock, a drive-by shooting brought the party to a screeching halt. He says the car stopped and the people in it started shooting recklessly at people from the party, then sped off. Officials say when they got there, they found 1 man dead from a gunshot wound. They say 2 other victims went to local hospitals with non-life-threatening injuries, and 1 victim refused help for an injury. Several neighbors say they heard at least 10 gunshots go off. One woman tells me she saw police had labeled 14 bullet casings. She says she was in bed when she heard the shots. In fear, she immediately rolled onto the ground until it was safe to get up. I briefly spoke to one woman who went into the home where I'm told the party was. She wouldn't elaborate, but she says she saw it all happen and is devastated by the incident.
And one of the biggest reasons people aren't willing to talk on camera, police are still searching for the suspect. They're asking anyone with information to give them a call. As far as the victim, they have not yet released his identity. In the newsroom, Aisha Tolliver, 10 on your side.
Across the country will call for more gun control tomorrow. One local community is calling for an end to gun violence altogether.
The message will come in the form of a special basketball game, and it'll have some celebrity help.
News 3's Anthony Sabella is here now with more.
So, Anthony, where is this happening and who's going to be there?
Well, Devin Kurt, a month ago, people of all ages marched in Newport News calling for an end to violence. Well, tomorrow's basketball game is organized by the same people with the same message, and this time they tell me big names like Allen Iverson and Michael Vick will be there.
I just want justice. I want justice for my baby. He was 17.
A Newport News mother's plea just 1 month ago. It came the night dozens marched up Marshall Avenue calling for an end to violence on the city's east side.
Please put them guns down.
Part of John Ely's ongoing fight to take back his neighborhood.
It's amazing. We had children as young as 4 years old come out with poster boards and signs demonstrating they're just tired of the violence.
Tomorrow, the Newport News School Board member is taking it one step further.
We're having a Stop the Violence celebrity basketball game. We want all the youth to come out. We want parents to come out. We have cheerleaders, step teams, dance teams, marching bands. It's going to be just not a basketball game. It's going to be a fun-filled event.
The game is happening at the Heritage High School gym. Ely says he's expecting hundreds to turn out, but he's not leaving anything to chance, bringing in faces not only recognizable in Newport News, but also around the country.
We called on our celebrity friends that are from Newport News, Elton Brown, Allen Iverson, Michael Vick.
He says all will be there with the same message, and by chance, the game falls on the same day as the March for Our Lives, a national call for gun control expected to hit several cities, including Norfolk and Newport News.
And the great thing about this event is it's a national movement tomorrow. So we wanted to take a step further and be a part of it.
And again, that game will be at Heritage High School. It starts at 3 p.m. Anthony Sabella, News 3.
Tonight, a Stop the Violence rally. Community leaders held the event in the Tidewater Gardens section of Norfolk. It comes just 2 days after someone shot 2 men on Mariner Street. Police say one of the men is in critical but stable condition. 10 on your side's Asia Tolliver was at the rally this evening. Asia, what are people telling you?
Well, I did go out to that area and talk to people who live near where that double shooting happened. They say they're worried about their children growing up in a community that's no stranger to violence. Community activists were out there telling them they need to take a stand now.
We got violence taking place again.
After a double shooting here at Tidewater Gardens on Friday evening, local community activists came together in hopes of stopping the violence.
We're supposed to help one another. Today is Resurrection Sunday. We're supposed to be out here helping one another, not destroying one another.
They took to the streets to talk to people who live here, trying to get them to take a stand. I talked to people who live here, and they say they're worried about their children's safety now more than ever.
We want to ask them questions. Where your interest lies at? What are your deeply concerned?
Khalil Mohammed has been working to bring awareness to communities for decades. Mohammed goes out into local communities to get them to join together to stop crimes from happening. His message, it's time to create a change.
I would like to say to the public that these residents that live out here, they need to take a stand with us. It's time for a reform position now.
Mohammed says Easter is a special day, a perfect time for the community to come together against the violence. He tells me this is a call for action, and he won't stop until the violence does.
Take a stand with us so that the children, the seniors, will have a better place to live in the future.
Mohammed tells me he's already planning to work with the police department in a few weeks for another Stop the Violence.
Special thanks to our G Channel's contributor T. Martin.
And as always, thank you for watching. If you like this video, please consider subscribing. Also follow us on the usual media for more interesting information like this.
Channel moderators are Jer Shax and Michael Thomas. Thanks for your diligence and dedication. This has been a T. Martin and RG channel collaboration.
Fight their asses.